Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Gonna do a video series on doing Node-RED on Raspberry Pi. We're gonna do a few things off of that, but for this video, it's just putting Node-RED on a Raspberry Pi. Um, so one of the things you're gonna want, Raspberry Pi is a small little mini computer like this. There are several different ones. This is the Raspberry Pi 4. It's the newest one. In my videos, I'm going to use the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. So you can get that one for about $80 on Amazon. It comes with an SD card, pretty much everything you need for it. So let's go back. The Raspberry Pi 4 actually has the mini HDMI, so it'll come with the mini HDMI to HDMI. So once you get that, you get the SD card, and I think pretty much all of these come with the SD card thing. Plug it in and be able to put all the software on it that you need. So I'm going to use this. Plug it in quick. So we'll go to the software here. The image that you want to get is on raspberrypi.org. You really could just search for Raspberry Pi OS. What I'm using is the Raspberry Pi OS Lite. I don't plan on needing a desktop at all, so it's all going to be command line because this thing's going to run pretty much without any kind of monitor or TV or anything hooked up to it. So click on download, save it. It's going to take a little bit to download. Once it's downloaded, you will then extract the image into a folder, and then the next piece of software that we'll need is the Etcher software. If you search for, I'll put links for everything in the description of the video. This will be the software that you need. Download it, install it. So afterwards, we'll go and select our image. That's the image right there. Pick and choose the SD card that you need. So this is the one. And then hit flash. You're going to hit yes. And then it's going to take a little bit to flash. Once it's done, then you can take it out and we'll put it in the Raspberry Pi and then boot it up. I'm going to stop the video for now. We'll be back in a little bit when it's done. All right, so as this is finishing up, I just wanted to let you know that that image for the Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Pi OS, is compatible with the Raspberry Pi 3 and the Raspberry Pi 4. So you should be able to use it for either or. Okay, so once it gets done, it's going to go through validating. You can have it do the validation to make sure that it flashed what it needed to. I'm going to cancel it. So we'll grab that SD card. So we'll go to this. So we'll pull the SD card out, and on the underside of the Pi 3, it's in here. It is not spring loaded. It just slides right in. The 2s, it was spring loaded. The 4, I am unsure. I don't have a Raspberry Pi 4 at all. So there is that. Now I have Ethernet plugged in, and then I have the HDMI plugged in as well. And then this is for my keyboard. You can hook up any keyboard and mouse. I've got a wireless keyboard mouse combo. So now we're going to go and fire it up. If I can get to the right screen. All right, here we go. And this is what it's going to look like when it fires up. All right, if it sits at that screen and doesn't go any farther, it was a bad flash. I would suggest trying it again. So what it's doing right now is it is expanding the root file system to the full size of the SD card. And then it's going to reboot again. This is the normal startup. Takes a little bit. So this thing uses about 1 watt of power. So you can have it plugged in somewhere where you don't have to worry about it. Plug it in and just let it run all the time. I leave mine plugged in the network. This one does have wireless on it. I choose not to do the wireless because wireless ever goes down. The wired connection, just a lot more. I trust it a lot more. So your login is going to be Pi. The password is going to be Raspberry. And then we'll start the script here. Okay, I did forget one thing on here. So we're going to type in sudo raspi-config. So we'll go down to localization, time zone. So I'm in America. Let's see, we need Chicago is the one for me. And after that, finish. Now it should. Date is the one I need. It should show the right time. So 16:27. It is correct. Okay, before we get started with the script, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this remotely. And this might be useful to anybody. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll type in sudo space raspi-config and hit enter. We'll go down to option number 3, interface options. We'll go down to P2, which is SSH, secure shell. We wanted to enable this. It'll tell you that it's enabled. You hit OK. We'll go down to finish. And next, we will go to buddy.org. We'll click on download here. You can pick one or the other. Really doesn't matter. 32-bit or 64-bit. Save it. And then we'll run it right away. If this isn't an installer, this is the actual program. So one of the other things you will need off of the Raspberry Pi is you will need to type in if-config and hit enter. So you want the first one, eth0:. where it says iNet, it's 192.168.0.53. That is the address of the Raspberry Pi on your network. So we'll take that number, put it in here, make sure that SSH is checked, and then hit open. It's going to come up with this. We'll hit yes. Your login is Pi. And your password is Raspberry. All right, we will now maximize this screen. That way it's easier for you guys to read. We will go back to the browser though. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to go to the Node-RED Raspberry Pi installation procedure. That will be linked in the description. So we'll highlight all of this command, right click on it, go to copy, and we'll go back to PuTTY here, and we'll just hit Shift Insert. Hit Enter. It's going to ask you, do you really want to do this? We'll hit yes. Would you like to install Pi specific nodes? Yes. Probably aren't going to use them, but I'm going to install it anyways. Right here is where it's going to go through the process of installing everything. It will take a little bit of time to install all of it. I'm going to stop the video for now, and we'll come back when it's done. All right, when it is finished installing, this is what you should see. Version numbers and stuff might be a little different. It all depends on what versions are out at the point in time. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is we'll go back to here. We want to set Node-RED to start automatically on boot. So we'll take this command right here, and we'll copy and go back to PuTTY, Shift Insert, Enter. And now when we restart, it should have Node-RED working. So we are actually going to restart. That way we know that everything's working the way that it should be. So hit reboot, which is now going to close. Oh, sorry. Sudo reboot. Now it's going to say that there's a connection, or the connection was closed on PuTTY, and that's fine. We will go back to Raspberry Pi. It is booting back up right now. I'll let it finish booting here. Somewhere in here it should have said that Node-RED started. So next we are going to open up a new tab. And so the IP address of the Raspberry Pi was 192.168.0.53 colon 1880. That would be the address that you need to connect to. Well, the IP address of your Raspberry Pi, and then the colon 1880 is the port number that we're going to connect to. So when you hit enter, this is what you'll see. And this is the Node-RED desktop. And there's really nothing else that we need to do with this anymore. So that would be the end of this video. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and throw them down in the comments section. If you like the video, please hit the like. Please hit subscribe. And if you really want to know when I release more videos, you can hit the bell as well. that'll notify you and let you know when I have posted more content. Here's all my social media stuff. And all right, I suppose have fun.